Welcome back to the ongoing series of What If Kakarot was raised by Cooler. Frieza glares at the Saiyans. Because of what they did, he was forced to transform. But then again, he's finally found them. No more searching, and no more of them going around destroying what's his. Once he kills them, Cooler's next. Salza tells Kakarot not to lose like he did the last time, but Kakarot doesn't listen. He and the other Saiyans have already planned for this moment. Nothing no one can say can stop their plans. Because it's daytime on this planet, the moon isn't out. But this isn't stopping anything. Vegeta is the only person that Frieza is not paying attention to, so it's only right if he does this. He throws the artificial moon into the sky, and everyone else but the Saiyans are surprised. Turles starts to laugh as he and Kakarot look into the air and begin transforming. The multiplier that this transformation gives them is enough for them to face Frieza in the form he's in now. But if he manages to get stronger, then they still have Nappa and Raditz that could easily assist them. Frieza grits his teeth. These apes are always so sneaky. Vegeta is the first on his kill list. Who even knew he was back there? He rushes towards Vegeta at full speed, but he's stopped in his trail when Kakarot swats him out of the air. Vegeta takes advantage of this moment. It's perfect. He goes over there and he begins stomping on Frieza's body continuously. They have to do everything quick, just in case Frieza transforms again and grow even stronger. Both Turles and Kakarot begin to fire a blast out of their mouth to hopefully finish Frieza off for good. While all this is happening now, Cooler has now arrived to the planet, and he feels the Saiyans' power. They have grown so strong out of nowhere. Who would have expected them to go against Frieza like this? How did they even obtain this much power? Last time he shaped, they were beyond weaker than the Omer Squadron. Now they're able to do this? What else could they be hiding? Could one of them possibly transform into a Super Saiyan? He has to eliminate these Saiyans immediately. Once Frieza's gone, they're next. Because who knows, what if they get so strong one day they just decide to turn on him, and he can't allow that to happen. Once they can't see Frieza, Vegeta flies over to Kakarot and Turles to actually see if they finished him off for good. But he's quickly stopped when he's stroking his stomach. Turles' eyes widen. What they were fearing actually came true. His power is higher than all of ours combined. What are we going to do? Kakarot grits his teeth. He's stronger than all of us, even after all the training we did. How is this even possible? The Armor Squadron sees Cooler, and they begin to make their way towards him. Salza asks Cooler what are they going to do now? It seems like the Saiyans have become weaker than Frieza. When is he actually going to step in? Cooler smirks. The time isn't right yet. He wants to see if the Saiyans have another trick up their sleeve. Frieza knocks down Grade A Vegeta, and Nappa transforms into an ape to save Vegeta. He rushes over to strike Frieza, but he's stopped in his tracks by a death beam that pierces through his heart. Vegeta will scream Nappa's name, and Nappa will fall down on his back. He starts to look into the air as he slowly begins to die. He starts to think of all the times he had with the Saiyans, and even the times he had before he started to raise Vegeta. Even though Nappa didn't have the best life, he's glad he was able to make it this far, and he's glad that he was able to die like a true warrior. Out of anger, Turles fires a sudden storm at Frieza, but Frieza avoids every attack. Kakarot can't believe what he just saw. One of them was actually killed that easy. Frieza could have just done this from the beginning if he wanted to, but he's choosing to play with us. Frieza begins to laugh loudly. He yells out that 1 down and 4 more to go. He looks at Kakarot's direction and he sees the look on his face and he begins to laugh even harder. He rockets towards Kakarot and he quickly strikes him multiple times. Kakarot couldn't even react in time. Frieza's just moving way too fast, and even though there is a huge height difference, it doesn't even feel like it. Frieza's attacks feel terrible. Kakarot falls to the ground and he throws up blood as he looks into the air. He starts to think to himself that this is the second time he's done this to him. The second time he's made a fool of him. Why am I this weak? Why can't I just beat this guy? Frieza starts to laugh maniacally while striking Kakarot repeatedly. Turles and Raditz tries to rush over towards Kakarot to help him, but Frieza tells them if they interfere, he'll kill Kakarot instantly. But Raditz doesn't listen. He doesn't even care what Frieza's saying right now. He just wants to save his brother. He tries to rush over there even further, but he's subjected to Frieza's wrath as well. He's shot by a blast that sends him flying 20 meters away. Turles doesn't immediately rush in like Raditz did. He actually tries to use his brain. He knows if he did that, he'll end up just like Raditz. But where's Cooler? He's the only person that's powerful enough to stop this. Turles begins to look around, and he actually attempts to sense Cooler's ki. He isn't sure if that's him, but this power feels so much like Frieza, so it has to be him. He looks over in the east, and he actually sees Cooler standing there with the Armor Squadron. Cooler smirks when he sees that Turles is looking at him. He points over at Kakarot's body, which causes Turles to turn his head to see Frieza charging up a beam right in front of Kakarot. Turles tries to rush over there immediately to stop Frieza, but he isn't able to even touch him. The blast that was meant for Kakarot is shot at him. These Saiyans are really a disappointment. He thought that he wouldn't even have to step in yet. but it seems like he has to let his presence be known. Cooler flies high enough in the air so that Frieza could have a perfect view of him. Kakarot looks up into the air and he sees Cooler, and he actually begins to feel relieved. Cooler's finally here, and he's strong enough to face Frieza. We have nothing else to worry about. The rest of the Saiyans are now safe. Cooler's gonna protect us. Cooler smiles at Frieza. He tells him that his time has finally come. A new and better emperor is here to take over the entire universe. Frieza's angry. Who does this guy think he is? There's no way he's going to allow this. Out of anger, he stomps on Kakarot's shoulder and his entire body shakes because of this. He screams out in agony and Frieza looks down and tells him once he's finished with Cooler, he's coming back to destroy him next. Frieza flies into the air to strike Cooler, but Cooler blocks the attack and the two begin to clash. Vegeta has lost a lot of energy, and due to him falling out of consciousness, the power ball in the air explodes, causing all the Saiyans, including Nappa, to revert back to their base form. Even though Turles was shot by Frieza, he isn't as hurt as everyone else. He hears mumbling, which causes him to look around. Vegeta's knocked out. Raditz a great distance away, so that leaves Kakarot. Well, Turles doesn't know if it's actually him, because he thinks he's unconscious too. So he stumbles over to where Kakarot is to check his pulse, but he stops when he sees Kakarot staring into the air with his blank eyes. We did our best, but yet we still lost. Why can't I win? Why do I keep losing to him? Even with all the help I had, I still lost to him. I know Cooler's disappointed in me. All the work I did amounted to nothing, and Nappa even died because of me. Due to me being so weak, I couldn't even save him. Kakarot begins to repeatedly mumble, "I'm a disgrace, I'm a disgrace." Turles grits his teeth, and he kissed Kakarot in his side. "You're pathetic. Are you really here sulking in your own misery? Are you really gonna let this bring you down? Are you even the same Kakarot that beat my entire crew and forced me to join him? Same Kakarot that destroyed many planets without even breaking a sweat. The same Saiyan that was destined to be weak but achieved greater strength than any low-class Saiyan in history." Turles walks over to Kakarot and picks him up by his arm and lifts him into the air. "If you want to die so bad, giving up all hope of life, tell me right now, and I'll end your life before you could even blink your eyes." Kakarot actually listens to Turles and begins to come back to his senses. He tells Turles to put him down. He looks over at Nappa's body, then he looks around for Raditz. He tells Turles that they have to leave before one of us ends up dying. Turles nods his head, then he flies over to go pick up Raditz, then Vegeta. Kakarot looks over at Nappa's dead body once again, and he starts to think he actually died. He clenches his fist, and he remembers all the moments he spent with Nappa. He apologizes for not being strong enough to prevent this from happening. Turles starts to rush over to where Kakarot is, and they find the ship. He tells him to come on, but before Turles enters the ship, he and Salza locks eyes. Kakarot enters, and he rests on the wall by the window, and Turles falls behind him. He tries to brush off what just happened, but he still has this bad feeling. Turles powers on the ship, and he sets the coordinates to the coolest planet. As their ship flies through the sky, Salza sees it, and he starts to think to himself, why doesn't he just finish them off right now, so that Lord Cooler doesn't have to waste any of his energy? Simultaneously, Kakarot looks over at Salza, and to his surprise, he's doing something that he never thought he'd ever do. A blast comes flying directly towards the ship, but luckily, Turles moves out of the way. Kakarot wasn't expecting this at all, but Turles was. This was always a possibility. Kakarot can't believe this. There's no way Salza would actually do something like this. He must have been unaware that they was in this ship. Salza shoots another blast, but this one doesn't reach the ship either. Turles screams Kakarot's name. Do you see now? You cannot trust them. They were never trustworthy from the start. Kakarot falls to his knees as he holds his head in denial. This isn't right. Why would he have done that? Turles yells Kakarot's name once again. He tells him that Salza knew that they were in here. Before I even entered the ship, he and I locked eyes, and he watched us enter. You have to think. Why would he react without Cooler's approval? This could have always been a part of their plan. You just have to open your eyes and realize, Kakarot. Turles begins to change the coordinates on the ship to a random faraway planet that's nowhere near this one. This is too much for Kakarot to handle, and his wounds start to finally get to him. He passes out as he dwells on the events of today. Turles begins to think, what are they going to do now? What's next? The only thing that he's sure of is both Cooler and Frieza coming after them. Cooler and Frieza fight hasn't finished yet. Cooler strikes Frieza in the face, sending him crashing down to the ground. Frieza grits his teeth. He will not be killed by this clown. Frieza charges up his energy, and to everyone's surprise, he flies away in full speed to the other side of the planet. He fires a blast to the core that causes the planet to begin exploding. He hates that he'll have to escape like a coward, but he has to do what he has to do to stay alive. He finds a space pod, and he gets in and leaves the planet immediately. Frieza is growing even more aggravated. Cooler could have killed him, and he knows that. The only way for him to actually win is if he gets his hands on the wishing orbs. Even though there are rumors about them, he still has to check. But first, he has to recollect himself. Frieza directs his ship to a planet that Cooler hasn't reached yet. The planet is kind of far, so it'll take him a while to get there. But once he's healed up, Cooler will get what's coming to him. Cooler and the armored squadron leave the planet before it explodes. Salza would decide not to bring up the Saiyans escaping, so that he don't get any backlash from Cooler. Besides, they were on death doorstep before they left anyway. Where can they even go that they can even survive at? Cooler will smile. His father is next. Now that the Saiyans, Frieza's planets, and his army have been dealt with, he's the only thorn left in his side. Cooler opened his palm, then he clenches it. Don't worry, father. I'll be there to relinquish you of your throne soon enough. Even if my little brother has survived, he's nothing but a cockroach now. I've taken everything from him. He has nothing left. He yells out to the armored squadron that the universe is theirs, and all of them begin to laugh like madmen as the ship flies through space. Okay guys, I don't know. Should I continue? Or should I just end this part off? If I continue it, we gotta hit 1500. So just because I believe in us, I'm gonna finish it. We're gonna keep doing it. So just sit back down. Don't count me out just yet, because I only got some more. The Saiyans land on a remote planet. Both Kakarot and Vegeta are still knocked out, but Raditz, he slowly gained consciousness before the ship landed. Raditz would tell Turles that this planet does not look familiar. Have they been to this one already? Turles would then relay the information about the betrayal of Cooler, and Raditz, he's glad to hear this, but at the same time, this is another problem that they have to worry about. Cooler is literally a bigger threat than Frieza. Both Turles and Raditz would step out of the ship to go find some food because they are kind of hungry. But to their surprise, they're met by the people of this planet. Turles starts to think, this kind of looks bad. They probably think that we're some type of threat. He tells Raditz to hold his hands into the air, and they both do it. They scream out that they're not threats, so that they won't alarm the people. The crowd would begin to get louder and louder. From way back, someone screams out, "Are they Saiyans?" Raditz raises an eyebrow. These people know Saiyans? The hooded figure will walk up towards them, and Turles will see a tail. He's a Saiyan as well? The mystery Saiyan would take off his hood, and they would be surprised. He looks like Vegeta, and he's also short. Tarbo would introduce himself. This would shock both Turles and Raditz. Who would have known that Vegeta had a brother? Raditz would go on to ask Tarbo why he's on this planet, and Tarbo would tell him everything. Raditz wouldn't be too surprised. This is just like Kakarot. He was sent away as well. But look at how that turned out. Turles smirks. He puts his arm on Tarbo's shoulder, and he tells him that he's with them now. He also tells him that Planet Vegeta was destroyed, but luckily, his brother survived. Tarbo begins to sweat. Planet Vegeta was destroyed? How can Turles just say this like it's nothing? This guy's crazy. Tarbo would then ask where's his brother. Is he in a ship? Turles would tell him yes. He's actually unconscious right now. Sweat begins to drop from Tarbo's face. Then he actually looks at Turles and Raditz. Were you guys in a battle or something before you came here? Raditz tells him yes. They were fighting against Frieza, the same guy who destroyed Planet Vegeta. This would make Tarbo sweat even more. Frieza? The same guy who destroyed our home? How are you guys even still alive? Turles' stomach would begin to rumble, and like a chain reaction, Raditz's stomach would rumble next. Say Tarbo, where can a guy find something to eat around here? Tarbo starts to think, maybe if I give these guys some food and a place to stay, they'll tell me more about what they've been doing, and maybe I can even grow closer with my brother. Tarbo will begin to smile as he tells them to follow him. He's going to give them a place to stay and some food. Raditz and Turles would go inside their ship to bring both Kakarot and Vegeta outside. Tarbo turns around to tell the crowd that everything is okay. These guys are just like him. Raditz screams, "Yeah, we come in peace." Tarbo would lead the Saiyans to his home, and he remembers once he reaches his village that someone near him has an amazing healing power. Tarbo would go and ask the guy could he heal his brother and his comrade. The guy would have no problem with this. Tarbo's a good kid, so there would be no reason to refuse his offer, even though these guys do look kinda scary. The man rests both of his hands on the Saiyans one by one. Then he even offers to heal both Turles and Raditz, which they would agree to. Kakarot and Vegeta are healed, but it'll take them some time for them to wake up. Turles and Raditz gets a Zenkai, but not a major one, since they weren't really that hurt. Raditz's power grew to about 575,000, and Turles grew to about 780,000. Tarbo stands over the sleeping Vegeta, and he just thinks, wow, my brother is actually alive, and he's here in my house right now. He looks over at Kakarot, then looks at Turles. Are you guys twins? Raditz will start to laugh as Turles explains why he and Kakarot look so much alike. Raditz tells Tarbo that Kakarot is actually his younger brother. This will make Tarbo chuckle. You two look nothing alike compared to them two. A day would pass by, and both Kakarot and Vegeta would still be knocked out. As Turbo would be talking to the others, he would out of nowhere put his hand over Vegeta's head. And after 5 minutes of having his hand there, the most unexpected thing happens to him. Vegeta grabs Turbo's hand and begins to squeeze it, causing Turbo to shriek out in agony. "Why is your hand on me?" Vegeta would get up to see who the hand belongs to, and becomes super surprised upon seeing his younger brother. He screams Turbo's name in shock. He wasn't expecting to see him of all people. Vegeta unhands Turbo, and they begin to catch up. Turles would explain everything that happened while he was unconscious, and how they actually ended up on this planet. So now we have both Frieza and Cooler coming after us. And then since Cooler army did get bigger, who knows, some of his scouts probably out looking for us as we speak. Turles nods his head. He agrees with Vegeta. Then he states that they have to get stronger. They can't allow what happened to them last time to happen again. Vegeta agrees with Turles, but then he mentions the wishing orbs. They will be a good way to win the battle as well. If they wish to become immortal, then they'll have no reason to fret. They'll just beat them easily. This piques Turles' interest. But then again, the wishing orbs are just a myth. Who knows if they're actually even real? This shouldn't be something that we just put all our hope into just yet. We have to become stronger, then maybe we can go find out about the wishing orbs. The Saiyans would nod their head. Vegeta would look at his hands, and he would start to feel his power. He feels stronger than ever. Since he did nearly get killed by Frieza, he did gain a big Zenkai boost. His power level is about at 750,000. He's still weaker than Turles, but he did gain exceptional power. He asks Turbo where can they go to train, and Turbo leads them to a training ground. But before they leave, Kakarot finally wakes up. He looks around, but he doesn't say anything once he sees the Saiyans. He does notice that Turbo is new to the group, but he doesn't really question anything. Turles will tell Kakarot that they're leaving to go train, but Kakarot doesn't get up and follow them. He wants to stay here for a bit, by himself. Kakarot will start to think about everything, and he actually starts to get very angry. He leaves the house before he ends up destroying it. He doesn't particularly go to the same wasteland that the other Saiyans went to, he just went to a nearby mountain. Since Kakarot was beat the worst by Frieza, he has the bigger Zenkai, leaving him at a power level of 1,500,000. Kakarot's emotions will begin to overwhelm him. He starts to think about everything. He's angry at the fact that he can't do anything but just hate himself and just feel weak. Nappa died because of his weakness, and he was betrayed by Cooler. And even if Cooler decided to come kill him now, Kakarot wouldn't be able to do anything about it because he's just still so weak. He slams his fist on the ground and he becomes angrier and angrier by the second. He actually was a fool. He actually was betrayed. He helped Cooler so much just for him to turn his back on him. There's no way he can allow this to happen. And Frieza is still alive. He actually killed one of his men. How can all of this just happen to him? There is no way he will allow them to get away with treating him like this. He must make all of them pay. Kakarot repeatedly says this as he screams out into the air. His anger actually triggers something within him. The yellow aura will begin to appear around Kakarot's body, and his hair begins to rise and flickers from yellow to black. Kakarot lets out one last yell, and this would have been the one that would have made him transform. Kakarot's now a Super Saiyan. This surge of energy would have caught the attention of the Saiyans. Since Turles is more of death at sensing ki, he knows exactly where it's coming from. He rushes over to where Kakarot is, and he's surprised once he sees him. What is this? This transformation that he's in is unlike anything that Turles have ever seen before. Kakarot, what is this? Kakarot would tell Turles he doesn't know, but it feels amazing. His power is unlike anything he's felt before either. Vegeta and the others would have rushed over to see what's happening, and once Vegeta sees Kakarot, there will be no doubt in his mind. He's achieved the Super Saiyan transformation. He does feel a little envious, but at the same time, this means he can obtain the transformation as well, especially since someone this close to him has achieved the form. Raditz looks at Kakarot in awe. This is amazing, Kakarot. This power of yours feels incredible. But Turbo, he will be speechless. He doesn't even know what to say. These guys are truly amazing. First, he gets to see how strong his brother and these other guys is. Now this? A Super Saiyan? This would boost Turbo even more. He's more motivated than ever. He wants to become as strong as possible to hopefully one day catch up with these guys. Kakarot turns to the Saiyans with a serious expression. All of you fight me right now, as if you were trying to kill me. Turles raises an eyebrow. What a great way to test out your new power. Vegeta smirks and begins charging up all of his power. Once you finally understand this transformation, you're going to teach me how you managed to obtain it. Raditz will charge up his power as well, and just as Turbo, he gains even more motivation to achieve more strength. They all rush towards him at the same time, striking as if they planned this fight ahead of time. Turles goes in for a blow to the neck that could finish Kakarot, but in a split second, Kakarot sidesteps and delivers a blow to his stomach. Then he proceeds to spin and kick Turles in the back, sending him rocketing towards the ground. Kakarot will shoot a blast down where Turles is that explodes once it makes contact with his body. Smoke will form around his entire body because of the explosion, but when it clears, Turles is seen passed out on the ground, with most of his armor broken. Kakarot looks back up at Vegeta and Raditz, and he says, "Who's next?" as he enters his fighting stance. Vegeta's blood is pumping. He can't wait to obtain this power. He rushes towards Kakarot with a flurry of kicks and punches, but Kakarot will either counter or block every one of them. But Vegeta's a strategic fighter. When he sees that Kakarot is attempting to strike him, he moves out of the way so that Raditz can enter the frame, while he jumps back and begins to prepare a Galick Gun. Raditz would attempt to elbow Kakarot, but Kakarot would catch his elbow, and he kicks Raditz in his ribs, causing him to lean forward, giving Kakarot the advantage to grab his long hair and throw him towards the ground. Raditz would get back up from the ground, and he would actually try to fly up towards Kakarot once again. But this wouldn't work, due to Kakarot appearing in front of him with a flurry of punches towards his chest. This would have been more than enough to defeat Raditz, and as he falls backwards, the last thing that he would see is a blast from Vegeta coming straight towards where he and Kakarot are. Vegeta would have shot the blast at the perfect moment, giving Kakarot no time to turn around and catch it, causing him to take the blast full force. Turbo looks up in amazement at his brother. He really was able to pull this off. He even suspects that Vegeta won the fight. Kakarot will rip off most of his shirt due to it partially being torn off. He blitzes towards Vegeta faster than he could even see and delivers a thunderous blow to his stomach, causing Vegeta to throw up blood on Kakarot's shoulder. Kakarot moves back, then he kicks Vegeta, sending him flying through the air. Then he fires a blast of his own at Vegeta. This will leave Turbo speechless. He can't believe what he just saw. Kakarot turns his head at Turbo, and Turbo begins to step back unconsciously. For the first time in his life, he actually feels like he might be killed. This guy is too much for him to handle. Even if he goes easy on him, he still might hit him too hard to the point where he loses his life. He's nothing like his brother. He doesn't even know if he can take that. Turbo would look over at Vegeta to see him passed out, and oddly, this pushes him. He starts to remember how he wants to obtain more strength. He screams out that he will become stronger and strong enough to the point where he impresses his brother and proves his father wrong. He will start to scream that he isn't just some nobody as he rushes towards Kakarot to attempt to strike him, but he's quickly stopped by the same blow that caused Vegeta to be defeated. Kakarot then elbows him in the back, causing him to be sent plummeting towards the ground. Kakarot goes back to his base form, and he's actually shocked by the power that the Super Saiyan transformation gives him. The guy that healed them from the beginning watched the entire fight. He can't believe how powerful Kakarot is. He would have never suspected that the guy he healed would have been this strong. But those fights were absolutely incredible. Even Turbo had a chance to fight, although he didn't last very long. The man goes over to Kakarot, and he tells him that he can heal every one of them if he just brings them over here first. Kakarot will raise an eyebrow at this man. "Who are you?" The guy laughs as he tells him that he's the one who healed him and Vegeta when they first got here, and he's also a good friend of Turbo's. Kakarot is kind of skeptical, but this guy doesn't seem too bad. He will go over and bring all the Saiyans over here, and he tells the guy before he even starts to heal them, if he try anything, then he will kill him. The man would then start to sweat. He tells Kakarot that he doesn't have anything to worry about, and he actually heals every one of them, to Kakarot's surprise. He tells them the next day they should be awake, and Kakarot nods his head. The Saiyans does have a lot of work to do, but with how strong Kakarot is now, and the guy that can heal them, they should be prepared in a month's time to go through the next phase of their plan.